All right, welcome back to Rewriting Reality. It's great to be back. This is the final episode for the year, and I guess it being the final episode of the year, it comes with a couple twists. We were supposed to have Lee Roebeck here today, but he got the time zones messed up. Plus, with the switchover in the clocks, it's much later for him in the evening than he expected, and he's probably getting into bed right now. So, luckily, I have a network of amazing people. I put out a call with Lester than an hour before the show, and my good friend, Mr. Joe Always, actually Joe, Mr. Always Good, Mo Gazel has jumped in to save the day, and I also want to say that several other people also jumped in, but Joe was the first one on the draw. He got to be on the show. Joe has an amazing story, and he is a great coach, and I'm looking forward to having him on here. So Divine DNA is here. Hey guys, how you doing? Let's bring on Mr. Always Good. Hey Joe,
Hey Shiraz, how are you?
I am amazing. How are you doing? and
Man, I'm always good.
You're always good. I don't even know why I ask anymore.
Oh, it's okay.
but
I like it when people ask me.
but I also want to point out before we hear a little bit about you, we're going to actually hear a little bit about you, and that you jumped onto this with less than an hour before the show, and you even decided to drive out to the office to go do the show there.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean,
I, I was happy to have you on the phone, but you went all out, man.
I mean that's how it goes, man. When someone that you like and trust sends out a message and says, "Hey, I need a guest," and you're quick on the draw. Like I had to at least do everything I could to give my best. So here I am.
I'm glad to have you here. It's interesting because we're both in a network that's run by Jenny Trask and Kimberly Crow, and one of their things, the things they say is, if someone hands you a mic, you say yes, and it's just funny because when I put out the call, it was specifically to that community, and then the yeses just started showing up. Like everyone follows this philosophy. I love that.
I think I was about 30 seconds faster than anybody else, so I won.
Yes, that's about it. All right, so Joe, tell the audience. Basically, there's two major things you do. There's coaching in sales, and there's working with nonprofits. Okay, and I know both of them are very passionate. You're very passionate about. Tell us how you got into all of this.
Well, I mean, when it first started off, sales is where my first passion really got started, and that was, I was 19 years old. I was working a job doing irrigation in Michigan. And so when the winter comes around, you can't dig holes in the ground. It's frozen. You just can't do it. So you have to go on unemployment, or as everyone up there called it, unenjoyment. And I never understood that because at $110 a week before taxes, that was not enjoyable.
Hmm.
And so I was like, I want to do something else. And I always had really wanted to like dress nice and wear suits. And when I saw a guy at a house party that was about my age wearing a suit, I was like, man, what do you do for a living? And he told me he sold furniture at Art Van Furniture, local store in Michigan. Um, and that's where that journey started, because he said, they hire people without experience and you should come and apply. You have a great personality. So I did. And I was told the same thing by the manager, great personality, but it's the wrong time of year. And it's going to be slow, and I don't want to set you up for failure. So just we'll keep your resume on file and check back with us. Well, I had a brilliant idea in my head. It seemed brilliant at the time, was to just show up every day until they said yes.
Okay.
So I showed up for 21 straight days until finally he literally just said, if you're going to work this hard to get the job, there's no way you're not going to be successful at it. And he was right. And that's where my passion for sales really started. And as I went through the training program there, which by far the best training program I had ever been through with a company for how they train their salespeople, just product knowledge and sales knowledge, was I realized that, wow, what I'm really doing is I'm helping people make a decision to solve a problem in their life. And it might not seem like a big problem, but when you need new furniture, the problem is you want new furniture, you need new furniture. And when I
Yeah.
realized that all I was doing was helping them make the decision what furniture to get and helping them solve that problem, and I got to be part of that happiness for them, that's what really ignited the passion for the sales profession inside of me.
And
So
it's interesting because the framing you took on it is the exact opposite of the framing most people put on sales, or where you're just trying to sell stuff to people that they don't actually want. And you're like, no, they're coming here. They already want this. I'm just helping them make a decision. So,
yeah,
yeah.
and I find it strange that so many people do see it that way. But what I've really come to realize is that there's a lot of our own personal deep core wounding that sales brings out that we have to get over. And so I've started toying around with the concept that sales is really a spiritual practice.
Hmm.
And it, but there's because you got to get over a lot of your core wounds in order to really lean into it to be of service.
Okay. So that's a different approach with sales. Get rid of your core wounds so you can be a good salesperson.
Yeah.
So, okay, wait. I want to delve a little bit deeper into this one. Could you explain a little more about that?
Yeah. I mean, so Shiraz, I mean, you do obviously amazing work with helping people heal. Uh, and a lot of it goes back to core wounds. I mean, you and I have had a session together, and I was amazed to realize that there were things that I thought I had already processed and worked through that I needed to work through again. Um, but what I've realized is going through everything that I've been doing and really reigniting my passion for sales, because and we'll talk about the nonprofit stuff later, but what it was, I realized is that most people are so scared of rejection
Hmm.
that sales in and of itself is scary because they're worried they're going to be rejected when someone says no to buying whatever it is they're selling. And
Yeah.
that is something that can also go back to the whole, like, I don't want to be alone. And if I'm rejected by all these people, am I going to be alone? And so those things, and then we have to get over our own fear of money because we're asking for money when we ask for a sale. And, people say money is the root of all evil. It's
Mhm.
wrong. It's money, the love of money above all else is the root of all evil. But we
Yeah.
shorten it because, right, we love to shorten things, don't we, as a society? Like, just take the most simple, basic soundbite, forget the rest of it, just the soundbite.
Yeah. And I've seen so many phrases that the meaning has completely changed once it got shortened, and people don't even know what they're talking about anymore. It's,
Oh, yeah, because money's not inherently bad by itself. And wanting to make a lot of money doesn't make you a bad person.
Mhm.
But if money is the only reason you do anything, that's a bad reason to do something.
Yeah.
So,
They've been here for 30 seconds and you're already hitting the nail on the head. So, all right. So, okay. So you have this love of sales, but I know you, and one of the first things that attracted me to you is your passion for the nonprofits. Tell us a little about that.
I mean, like, roughly speaking, right now there's about 1.2 million 501c3 public charities in the US.
Wow,
And right, it's a lot.
that's a lot. I had no idea it was that much.
Yeah, and that's just right now. Now, there's new ones being created all the time, but here's the scary part about it is they're businesses.
Mhm.
And they're started by people who have this huge heart and want to do amazing things and do good in the world, but they don't know how to run a business.
Mhm.
So what ends up happening is new nonprofits have a higher rate of failure than most small businesses.
Wow, small businesses have a high rate of failure.
Yeah. And
Okay.
most nonprofits are even worse because you're being run by someone who's not business minded.
Yeah.
And I don't I don't know about everybody's experience, but my experience with the business owners that I know, they're all very generous people. And most of them give to a charity.
Mhm.
So what I realized is if I could help them give more to the charities they care about the most,
Mhm.
and at the same time make more money in their business then that would be a win-win for everybody. And what I
Yeah.
found out was you if you help them start a nonprofit that then literally donates to the charities that they already donate to. But because of that, I can help them get $120,000 per year every year for free in Google advertising. I can drive people into the ecosystem for them that share the same common want to help and benefit those same charities. The good that they want to do, they're going to get more people who want to do that. And then through that, if the product or service they have is something that that person could use or benefit from or need or want, then they're probably going to come buy from them. So
Okay.
it's a beautiful cycle.
So okay, let's get this straight. So $120,000 comes in to promote their business and their charity, or just their charity, or how does that work?
Yeah, you promote the charity.
Okay.
To educate and empower people.
Yeah.
Now, from there, you're going to drive people into an ecosystem. You're going to get people who are there for that same cause, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's say you have a business that teaches that it's all about public speaking, right? Like the community we belong to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this wonderful nonprofit called Speak, Feed, Lead.
Yes.
And it's all about helping children become public speakers. Huh?
I was on their event on Friday.
Wonderful. And I was on their show recently too. Right. Mm-hmm. And so let's say you have that public speaking thing and you want to donate to their charity. Well, if you start your own charity that is then going to drive people into your ecosystem that believe in teaching children about public speaking, but you're not going to build the infrastructure. They already have it there for you, but they could use more money. Now you give all your money to Speak, Feed, Lead. And the people that come in your ecosystem, let's say they want to become public speakers, they're adults, they're business owners, and they want to buy into your program. They already know you, they already love you, and they already trust you. So you've broken down all the barriers, and you're doing it with free money from Google to drive them into your charity because you actually believe in it. Right? That's the key. Like if it's not, if you don't have that charity you believe in, then this doesn't work.
Okay. So and from what I know about you, you're only going to work with people that actually believe in their charities. So
absolutely, 100%. Yeah. If it's, you've heard me say it from stage even. If you just want to get the free advertising, don't come talk to me. You're wasting your time and mine, because I'm not. Like, you have to have a passion for it, and that's why I think of my calls with a client to talk about the packages. It's an interview. I'm interviewing them to really find out, like, do you have that passion in you, or do you just want the money?
Okay. And so then when you find it's the right person, you help them get set up, you start getting them the advertising, and they get $120,000 for a year.
And every year.
Forever.
For the rest of time.
That's a lot of money.
It is. As long as you keep your 501c3 status, Google is going to give you that money. So every single day, they're going to deposit $333 roughly into your Google account to use every day for the rest of time.
Okay. All right. So anyone watching the show that has a charity they care about that wants to give to it while at the same time enhancing their business, this is the man to call.
Cool. Absolutely.
Oh, we have a question.
Absolutely. It works if you have multiple charities you support. 100%. That's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be just one thing.
I'm going to logically go through this in my brain, and you can confirm if I'm right or wrong. So the money comes in to your charity. Your charity splits that money through the 3, 4, whatever 5 charities that are there, and everyone wins. Everyone's happy.
Exactly.
Okay. I think someone's wheels are turning in the audience right now.
Oh yeah. And I think of it this way too. Like, as a business owner, a lot of times, especially if you have a family, you're thinking about the legacy you're leaving. Mm-hmm. But realistically, it's not the business that's your legacy. And especially most of the time when it's a family, you're thinking you're going to give it to your children.
Yeah.
they're going to sell it more often than not. They don't want to do it usually.
Yeah.
So, what if you were able to leave behind a real legacy that was a charity? So
Mhm.
you could sell your business when it's worth the most amount of money and leave that money to your family to use and give to the charity. Because the other part is your business has to give to this charity too. So you got to give 10% of your company's profit or of your company's overall revenue, however you want to do it, but you got to give at least 10%.
Nice. So apparently the wheel is spinning. I thought there was more than one wheel in her head, but apparently there's a single wheel spinning right
Just one really big one.
now. All right. So, yeah, we'll let that wheel spin, and I'm sure there's probably going to be more questions, and Joe will be happy to answer them as they pop up and turn on the top of that wheel. Uh, but
100%. They can come from the side or the bottom of the wheel too. It's all right, wherever they need to come from.
all right, so this is the first time on the show, and the regular viewers know how this works. So Joe is about to start coaching me for the next 15 or 20 minutes on something of his choice, which I'm assuming is going to be sales.
Yes.
Okay, I I'm ready. I get into my most coachable mood when I have a guest on, and uh, tell me what's going on, or where do we start?
Well, that's a great thing. What I wanted to do first thing when you think of sales,
Mhm.
of doing sales, right in that moment, one on one, when you're
Yep.
talking to someone, what's the first thought or emotion that comes to mind?
Is this going to be my right client? Right? That's the thing I found is uh, when I get into the talk, even though I've got a form people have to fill out to get to the sales talk, so I get a good idea of who they are. But sometimes what they put on the form is different from what the conversation ends up being. So every time I sit down for that sale, is this going to be the right client? And yeah, and that's just what just keeps popping up.
Okay. And when you think of salespeople,
Yeah.
same thing. What thought or emotion?
Uh, so for me, it's when I think of it, it's which kind is it? Is it the pushy one, or is it the one that makes me go, "Oh man, I have to work with you"?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, does the pushy one come to mind first?
Uh, I would say they used to. Now it's about half half.
Okay.
Again, it's almost like with the client thing. Which one's it going to be? Like when I
Got it. Got it.
step into a room, okay, which one are you going to be? Right? So
So,
that's it.
so you're more open minded to it than a lot of people, which is great. Now,
Yeah.
when you say, "Is this going to be my right client?"
Mhm.
What does that mean to you?
What does that mean? For me, the right client is a client that has been running a successful business, but then has hit that problem. So either the business is stalling, or they're getting overworked, or overwhelmed, or sick, or having issues with clients, but it has been running successfully. And then for reasons that they can't understand, it's just not working.
Okay. So, what that sounds like to me
Mm-hmm.
is that the right client for you is someone who has a successful business that has some kind of problem that you can truly help.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you, in that moment, you really believe, 100% you can help them?
Yes.
Right. So, if that was me and we got through the whole thing and I looked at you and said, I just don't know. I don't know if I want to do this. Or if I said, your, your fee is too high.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that going to, are you going to lean into that to talk with them about that? Or is that going to be more of a, okay, I'm just going to move on to the next one?
So Okay, so if the fee is too high, then one of the things I like to talk about is, well, how much is it costing you to not solve this problem? And actually,
Mm-hmm.
in the form I have them fill out, that question is there. So if they say that, I'm like, well, if you think it's too high, but you're saying it's costing you $100,000 a year, then is it really too high?
Right.
But
It's-
okay, but if they say I'm not sure, a lot of times I don't know where to go with that.
okay. So, because this is the point where I feel like most people, and you can tell me if this is true with you or not, Shiraz, but I feel like with most people at that point, they don't want to get pushy at all.
Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah.
so sometimes because you need to, you have to help them get to an answer,
Yeah.
right? That's the purpose you have as a salesperson with them in that moment is
Mhm.
to help them get to an answer, not a maybe, right?
Yeah.
So if they're like, hey, I'm not sure, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. I like to take the approach of like a psychiatrist in that moment, right? And I'm
Okay.
going to say, well, hey, Shiraz, totally understand. You're not sure. What would make you sure?
Hmm.
If you don't mind me asking.
Okay.
Now, what if they say, I don't know? I don't know what would make me
Yeah,
sure.
that was
Hey,
my question. What if I was about to ask that.
ask that question, then say I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what would make me sure in this moment.
Hey, Shiraz, I totally get it. Totally get it. It's a big decision.
Mhm.
You know, and again, if you don't mind me asking, like, what if you did know?
If I did know, okay, if I did know, I guess I guess I could decide.
So,
The pieces would be in place so I could make that decision one way or another.
yeah. So, if you had to just not think about it, just let the first answer come to your head. Are you ready to take care of this? Are you ready to move forward and fix this problem?
Huh. So it's getting them to go with their gut.
Yep. Because, like, realistically, no sale is made from the brain. No one
Mhm.
decides to buy because they logically think it's the right choice. They emotionally feel, right? There's a moment where it becomes theirs. In
Yeah.
in that it goes from want to mine.
Okay.
And so you want them to engage with that because they're going to logically talk themselves into whatever decision they make later. It's what we do as people. And
Okay.
so, you know, and again, I don't know if you felt like that was pushy.
No, it didn't. It didn't feel like it was pushy. Um, I was trying to think. So, but what about the people? And I've had this come up, and actually, yeah, I'm also this type with some of the things I buy, is I've got to go look and check my finances, uh, check that everything's in order, so I can make sure I don't screw myself over later. So what happens if they come up with that? If they
I totally understand that. I don't want you to you know not be able to make your house payment because you're getting some coaching from me. Totally get that, Shiraz. So if you don't mind me asking, like how long would it take you to go and look all those things up?
about a week,
About a week. So
yeah.
if I was to send you the agreement now, you sign it with an official start date 1 week from now, and if at any time between now and then you decide you don't want to move forward, you just let me know and we don't worry about it. Sound good?
Ooh, that feels scary to me.
I mean, I'm gonna look. You can say no at any point. You got a week,
Yeah.
but that way, if you're ready, all you have to do because look, what if you make the decision 2 days from now and we have to play tag back and forth to finalize this for a week?
Mhm.
You know? So if you say yes anytime between now and then, we'll send the invoice. But after a week, we'll send you an invoice that'll be due a week later.
I like that. because that gets objections out of the way. It gets them to take action. What's interesting is coming from the client's point of view. What pops up for me is like, oh no, this is real now. I'm actually going to do this. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. That's neat.
You know, sometimes you're just going to get them to the point where they say no. There's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't
Yeah.
want to. It's fine. Like maybe is the worst answer you can get.
Okay.
Right. And the nice part about it is when you get them to commit with the action, you know it's a real yes. It's not a polite yes to get you off the call.
Mm-hmm.
People will do that too. I don't know if you know this or not, but some people say yes when they mean no because they don't know they can say no. So I usually like to tell people that up front. Like at the beginning of my like interview process that I say when I'm doing that, I'm like, hey, look, this might not be for you. And if at any time you decide to tell me no, perfectly fine with that. So they know
Okay.
they can do it.
Yeah.
I give them permission to tell me no.
Yeah, a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So,
So,
and this is okay. And so this goes back to what you originally said, is getting rid of the deep scars in there, because you have to be willing to accept the rejection. Because if you're not willing to accept the rejection, you're not going to give them the out for the no, because now it's like, oh, now I'm going to let them reject me.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So, you can, I recommend what we just role played slightly together.
Mm-hmm.
You, you do that out loud with yourself, if with no one else, and be both sides of it. And say it enough times to where it becomes just easy and flows. All right. Now, you're going to, the first time you say it to a client or a potential client on a call, it's not going to be the best. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it will always get better. Right. So I've been doing this for 20 years. So these
Okay.
things are second nature to me.
Yeah.
So you need to make them second nature in you, which is where most people, I don't know how much of the wounding you still have around being rejected or people telling you no, but any of it that's there is where the hesitation comes from when you're trying to
Okay.
get someone to make that decision.
Okay. So it's interesting because one of the things we learn when doing uh, doing talks from stage or from anywhere is the first 100 are all just practice, and you're saying the same thing for sales. Right? So,
Oh yeah, I mean, when I was running sales teams, and even as a salesperson, I started every day on during my morning routine of getting ready. I went through a whole sales process, both sides, like I was selling myself. By the time I got to work, I had done it 3 times and I had closed 3 deals
okay.
out loud, talking to myself.
Yeah.
And I trained my salespeople to do the same thing because there's that repetition just helps because you get to hear it out loud. And then
Yeah.
also when you're in a sales profession where that's all you're doing all day long is selling, even though you're kind of tricking yourself into the high of I've closed 3 deals,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do better from the first actual customer you talk to than if you've just shown up from and you've been listening to NPR on the way in or ESPN radio or some music because you're just your body's in that point, right? Your subconscious mind doesn't know that it was a fake sale. It just
Yeah. Yeah. And that's actually one of the things I teach. Your subconscious mind doesn't care if it's real or imaginary. Everything that happens in your mind is treated as real. So
yeah,
you're coming in and your mind is like, I've already closed 3 sales today. Let's see how long we can keep this going.
exactly.
Nice. I like it. It's funny because I'm like now seeing the crossover between what I teach and you teach, and it's all the same stuff, right?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything's connected. I mean, is there anything specific that you would want some advice on outside of what we've talked about?
So, okay, so you want you want a yes or a no at the end of that conversation. Either way is good. You don't want to leave a maybe. That's the way you do things.
I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
If I absolutely have to, there's going to be a firm set date that we're talking again and
Okay.
time. I'm never going to leave it completely. Oh, give me a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Cool. Today's the 28th. So 14 days from today, are you available in the morning or in the afternoon? Right? Like, I'm going to lock it down. But I mean, realistically, you need to expect on a one-on-one sales like call or process 7 no's out of 10.
Okay.
I mean, and when you're first at doing it, it may be 8 or 9 no's out of 10. So you have to get really comfortable with the no. And that's why I really think being in sales my entire adult life,
Mm-hmm.
and most of it commission only jobs, like I had to really be used to that. So, you get really selective on who comes in to you to talk to. And as a business owner and the one doing all of the work, you really need to be that way. So your no to yes ratio is probably higher. You probably have a higher yes ratio than 7 no's out of 10. But it's the
Actually,
volume.
it's okay. So here's the thing. I actually track how many sales appointments I have each week, uh, how many sales are closed, and the values of each. So I've got this for the whole year mapped out, and mine is actually 30.36% sales are
Say
closed.
yes.
Yep.
7 out of 10 say no.
It's
Now,
pretty damn accurate, man.
I don't know, 20 years of experience, I've kind of learned that number. And that's for a good salesperson. Like it over the course of a career, like just being out there, like selling for other people's products, if you could close 30% on a regular basis,
Mhm.
like you're like Hall of Fame level salesperson. Like it is
Okay,
not
so
common.
okay, that's important. I want the listeners to really get that, because you weren't even talking about our products. If you sell for other products, so you're just getting a commission at this point. You don't have to build a business. You don't have to build a product. You're just selling 30% sales in your Hall of Fame, and people love you.
Oh yeah, it's like baseball in batting averages. So
Oh yeah,
for
300
those
is
of you who
amazing.
may not know a batting average in baseball, a 1,000 batting average, which never was happen, is 1-to-1. Every time you step up to the plate, you hit the ball. Now, the best of the best in the Hall of Fame, they're like 300, 333 batting average. So it's 0.30, 0.333 batting average. And they're in the Hall of Fame as a hitter.
Mhm.
And it's the same in sales. Now, you got to think about that too. When you start getting bigger as a business and you start hiring salespeople, you're probably going to have like a 20% closing ratio.
Mhm.
You got to expect that drop. They're not you. And if you're closing 30%,
Yeah.
you can't expect the person that you hire right away to be there.
Now,
But
okay,
I mean,
but can we expect them to go up though? Because
of course, of
okay,
course you can with repetition and training.
okay,
Yes. If you give them the right tools and they do the work, they better improve. But much above 30%,
Mhm.
if they're 40, 50, like me as a when I was running sales teams, I would start looking at whether or not they were cherry picking the people they were talking to.
Okay,
Right. So, and also there's some other things you can do. Like in a business like yours, Shiraz, you would never want to give somebody more than 25 leads in a week, brand new leads.
hmm
You wouldn't, because you want them to work at getting them. You don't want to give them 100 new leads and they only have to talk to these 10 and they can get deals. You want them to
yeah,
work for it. Right.
okay,
And so there's other things you can do, but on the sales side of it, it's just you're at 30%. It's your business. You created all of it and you're at that level. And again, I was thinking you might have been closer to 40% because it's yours. But obviously you're also getting a good amount of leads, which means you're doing all the right things to get more people who want to talk to you so that you can have the conversation. Because usually if you're at 40%, you probably would have had half the number of leads you've had, I would guess, just on average for people.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I know, because
yeah,
I know a lot. I know a lot of coaches that they're so selective on who they talk to. It's like they
Mhm.
almost know it's going to be a yes before they talk to them. So they're like, "Oh, I close 80, 90% of the people I talk to." You're not talking to enough people.
Okay. All right. So the lesson at home, kids, is if you're getting 7 out of 10 no's, you're doing great. Right?
You're doing great. Yes. Yes. And knowing where you are now doesn't matter. If you're at 10, if you're at 9 out of 10 or no's, it's fine.
Mhm.
You can get to 7 out of 10.
Yep.
Just got to keep working at being comfortable in those moments that are uncomfortable to help make them make a decision. Right? That's what you're there for.
Yeah. And the good news is if you are at 9 out of 10 no's, 1 out of 10 yeses, and you just get to 2 out of 10 yeses, you just doubled your business.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you've doubled your business. And then once you get to Shiraz's level and you're at 7 out of 10 or no's and you get 3 yeses out of 10 and you're tripling your business, life starts getting a whole lot better, I'm sure.
Cool. All right. I like this. So now here's the thing. We've got, okay, the philosophy is try to get a yes or no right away. It's if you get a maybe, set a firm date, follow up on that maybe. And practically this makes perfect sense. I get it, and I like the attitude towards it. But what I know is going to come up with people is, well, if I set that date, am I being a pest? Am I being annoying to that person? What do you have to say to that?
I say you're being respectful of their time.
Okay.
That's what it is. But I understand that feeling. I know why people will shy away from it
Mhm.
because again, you don't all of a sudden want them to be like, "Well, you're trying to push to get this date, so no, I don't want to do any business with you." Well, if that's what happens, congratulations, they've made a decision,
Okay.
right? So that's the part. I can almost guarantee you the only reason anyone feels that way about getting someone to set a firm follow-up date with you is because you're scared they're going to go from a maybe to a no.
Mhm.
And you can't be scared of the no. Just start embracing it.
All right. Embrace the no. Because if you're going to get 7 out of 10 anyway, you might as well get used to it. Right?
Yeah. Yep. You might as well. I mean, otherwise it's like it's a joke that we have in the sales world. But so Confucius says, shy salesmen have skinny kids. You got to get used to
Excuse me. I like that.
it.
I remember one of my old coaches. He was talking about how he made this agreement with himself that he would try his hardest to get a sale, but he would stop as soon as he got a no. And so he went to work and he got his no and he was done. And then he went the next day and he got another no and he went. But after about a week, he got a yes, and he's like, okay. And then he got his no. And then after a while, he was getting a yes and a yes and a yes. And then finally, he'd be like the whole day, just because he'd gotten so into the routine. Yes, 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 yes. And then he didn't care about the no's anymore. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get the nose and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Next. Like, look, some
yeah.
will, some won't. Who
Mhm.
cares? Next.
Okay.
I mean, it's all it is, right? The people who say yes are the only people that you need to really concern yourself with in the big scheme of things when it comes to your business and who you're helping. Because the ones that say no, you've helped them realize they don't want to do business with you. They can go to somebody else. But the ones that say yes are the ones that were meant to say yes. You're just a facilitator of the decision-making process.
Okay, cool. I like it. Thank you so much, Joe.
You're welcome.
And we have actually
I'm
a
glad it was
follow-up on
valuable.
hamster. Typically, the wheel is spinning with while the hamster is dead, but the hamster is alive and well today. Yay for the
That's
hamster!
awesome. We have put new life into the hamster.
The hamster's doing well. All right. So it is now time to flip it around. So I am now going to be coaching Joe.
Oh, right. Sorry, you didn't mean spin around.
No, not physically flip it around. Why do I always get such literal guests on my show? What's going on? Okay.
Oh, that was just being funny. Sorry.
Okay, so we're going to get one issue, one thing you're stuck at right now in your life that you want to move through. And what's it going to be, Joe?
So this may be very, very literal as well, but you remember when we were in Mexico and I was telling you about this problem I was having with Chase Bank?
Yep.
Still having that problem.
Okay. All right.
And I just found out yesterday that if I can't get it fixed, they're going to hold on to it for 2 years. They're going to hold on to my money for 2 years, and then they'll just put it to my estate.
So it's your money. The bank has it. They don't want to give it to you.
Yeah, they keep telling me that they can't confirm that the check was actually intended to be made out for me, even though I gave them a pay stub, the contract I signed with the client. But their database doesn't have a phone number that they can call them on, so they can't call them and verify it.
Okay.
So obviously, there's something in me that I'm making this happen, and I want to get rid of that.
Okay. So first question is, do you want the money?
Yes.
That's not coming up true.
Oh, no, I want that money.
Yeah, still not coming up true. Now, I know you consciously want the money, but some unconscious part of you is thinking, well, if I get the money, I have to let something else go that I really want to hold on to. Do you want to hold on to this fight?
No, I want to be done with this fight.
That's not coming up true either.
Oh, I've had enough, man.
Okay. And I can hear that in your voice. I can hear that in your voice, but your energy is in a completely different place here. Do you need a reason to hate them?
No, I actually really liked Chase Bank before this.
Okay, but you like them. So have they betrayed you?
Yes, they have.
Wow. Do you need to make them pay for betraying you?
No, I just need them to pay me my money.
Okay, I get that. Yes or no? Do you need them to pay for betraying you?
No.
So that's not coming up true. And if they just give you the money,
I've thought about going to the news.
Yeah.
Local news about this to see what I could I've thought about these things. I don't really believe that that's going to solve the problem. And karmically, I don't want that to come back on me. So no, I don't need them to pay. I'm just never going to use them as a bank again.
I get that. Your energy is in a different space. It's like, this is a fight I need to win. And yes, getting your money back is a win, but it feels like a win also means they have to lose in some way. Because if they give you your money back, they haven't lost. They've just given you your money. So truth, do you need them to lose?
What I'd love is an apology.
Okay. Do you think they'd give it to you if they, or they'd just give you the money back?
Oh, they're probably just going to give me the money back.
Yeah. And this is it. If you want that apology and you know all you're going to get is the money back, you're going to hold on to this situation until
Hmm.
there's some sort of way that you can see their apology is going to come. Because otherwise, they don't lose. You just get your money back. You don't even really feel like you win because you didn't
Hmm.
get the apology. That's where your limbo is.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I can feel the energy stirring up on that
Yeah.
one.
I would have never thought that simply the fact that I would like to get an apology, even though I know I'm not going to get it, is causing this to go on.
Okay, so this is it. It's all about the emotions and not about the physical consequences. So here's one thing. I don't know if you've heard this story, but there was a couple years back where my arthritis came back full blown. And I was sitting there going, what the hell is going on? Because I knew when it came in, there was some emotional problem I'm trying to deal with, and I just have to figure out what it is. And I'm going through my life. I'm going, everything's fine. My life's going great. But why is the arthritis full blown? And then finally, it popped up into my head. I was in the shower, and I shave in the shower because when I had the arthritis before, I would get in, let the hot water hit my body while I'm shaving, so it loosens up all the joints. So then I could wash a little better and get through my day. But now that I don't feel any pain, I don't need to shave in the shower. Right? I just do it because it feels good and I enjoy the warmth, and it's just something I've gotten used to. And my mind, a thought came in, you're wasting water. It wasn't a huge thought. It was just like, oh, you're wasting water. And because I felt guilty, a little bit of guilt for wasting water, I had to create a situation where I don't have to feel guilty for wasting water. And that was to pull the arthritis right back into my body. It was that stray thought in that one time in the shower. And once I realized that's what I was doing, I let it go and the arthritis went away again. So that
Hmm.
stray thought, I really love that apology. That can cause all of that because that emotion, I would feel so much better, or I'm getting ripped off if I don't. Whatever it's attached to it is what's powering the situation.
Hmm.
So, are you willing to step out of the story that you need to get that apology?
Yes.
Are you willing to step out of the story that if you only get the money back, you don't win and they don't lose?
Yes.
Oh, and I forgot to answer to say this because we've worked together before. For people that are new to the show, when energy shifts, I yawn and cough. In case you're wondering what the hell is going on right now. So, okay, how's that feel?
Feels great. It feels lighter
Nice.
because now it's just I just want to get the money so I can move on, and that's all. That's all I need.
That's all you need. Yeah, yeah, that energy's feeling lighter now. Okay, so I'm going to ask you again. Do you want the money?
Yes,
That felt a lot lighter, but there's still something in there. Okay, so there's another reason
I
you've been creating
I
this.
need it.
You need
Like
it.
it's not just a want at this point.
Oh, okay, and a need is always resistance. Okay, need energy is always resistant energy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so what if you didn't need the money? What if money could just show up from other sources, and this could just be money that's held up for a while until it's not held up and you don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So
Hmm.
is it okay if that money you've decided you need just shows up from other sources?
Yes.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story that that money has to come from that account?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Are you creating a need for money to show how bad Chase is being to you?
No.
Okay, that's not coming up true.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Okay, this is actually really common. Um, and it's usually from things like from childhood where like if your parents said you're never going to amount to anything, then you don't amount to anything because at a subconscious level you're punishing your parents and saying, look, this is because of you. This is happening because you said that and you thought that. And you don't realize because consciously you're like, why can't I be get the success I want? I want to prove my parents wrong. But unconsciously it's like, no, now it's their fault that I'm not successful. I don't have to blame me.
Hmm.
Right. So in this case, it feels like a similar energy in that if you can't get the money from other sources because they've held up your money and it's costing you that you can't do certain things or pay for certain things because they're holding up your money, it's your way of punishing them by saying, look how you're screwing me over by doing this.
Hmm.
It's not ever a conscious thing because consciously you want to just get the money. You want to get it any way you can from any source you can. But unconsciously, it's like, look, this is your fault. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to create a need for money to show Chase this is all their fault?
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely. And you can tell if it's there, if it was there, by little clues like if you've ever said or thought, well, this wouldn't be a problem if Chase would just fucking give me my money.
And of
Yeah.
course, I've had that thought.
Okay. Yeah. And that's actually saying, okay, now I can't have money because of Chase and I have to keep manifesting this reality.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. The less it seems counterintuitive, but the less you care about having the money, the more money shows up and the more likely it is for the money to get freed. But the more pissed off you are, the more angry, the more you think about it, the more you dwell on it. That's just saying, well, this is the reality. And your mind keeps going, this is the reality. So you keep creating, this is the reality.
That also makes perfect sense.
So one of the things that I've gotten into the habit of is if an unexpected bill comes in, like suddenly I owe someone $5,000, uh, then I'm just like, wow, that happened. I wonder how the money's going to show up to fix that. It used to be, oh my God, where am I going to get $5,000? What do I have to do? Where all this stuff? Now it's like, huh, I wonder how that's going to resolve itself. And it always, always, always does. Okay. How are you
Yeah.
feeling now?
I'm feeling like I'm not angry at them anymore.
Hey, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah, that feels a lot better now. Your energy's so much lighter.
Yeah, I feel better.
Cool. That's what we're going for. All right. We are almost at the top of the hour. Before we do close out the show, I want to remind everyone that My Way is on tomorrow at 6:05 p.m. Eastern on the Breakthrough Show Network. And they're doing an overview of the entire year. And that's all the shows this week. We are starting to wind down for the year with the Breakthrough Show because it's coming up on Christmas, people, and we want breaks too. So, but there's still more stuff coming up this month, although, sorry, next month, although this is the last episode of the year for Rewriting Reality. Next year, we're going to have a whole new roster of guests for me to play with, and it's going to be so much fun. Before we go away, though, Joe, how do people get in contact with you if they want to create charities and get $120,000 in free Google advertising each year and help people in need?
They can reach me at Joe at alwaysgood, ALLWAYSGOOD.com. You can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You can Google Mr. Always Good, Mr. MR period, Always Good, one word, ALL, and you'll find me. But just send me an email, joe at alwaysgood.com. Put in there, that you're coming as a friend from this show, that you are interested in setting up a charity. We'll set up a time to talk, and we'll go from there.
All right. And I will try to figure out how to put that in the show notes because right now it all says Lee Roebeck, but we have to flip it around and get Joe in there instead. I've never had to do it post show. I always do it beforehand.
So. That's okay. This was such short notice for me and for you. I take no offense to the fact that you don't have all my notes in there already. It's perfectly fine. It was 40 minutes. Yeah. We made it happen.
We made it. Yep. And and this will be up on YouTube on the Breakthrough Show Network, so you can grab the copy of the video and share it out. And we'll definitely change the show notes there. And
I'll actually also what I can do also for you, Shiraz, is I can send you over a message on Facebook that actually I have I'm going to be teaching a class on how to do this.
Okay.
So I have an Eventbrite that I can send that over to you. You can get that out to anybody within your network or who's been watching the show. And that way, if they want to join, they can pay to be part of that class.
Okay, but for the people that are watching this like 2 years from now, do you have something free?
Yeah. Is there something for free I can give them?
A downloadable that they could use.
Yeah, absolutely I can. And I'll get that over to you as well.
Okay.
And it'll basically be a full, like a breakdown of how the Google ad grant works for nonprofits.
Okay.
So that you can really understand what that does. So I'll get that over to you. Tomorrow. I'll get that over to you by tomorrow. And then other than that, I'm looking forward to working with anybody who comes to me from this. We can help shift some more reality around the world.
Okay. Sounds good. And as a complete aside that the audience knows nothing about, are you going to be in Vegas in 2 weeks?
Yes, I am.
All right. We're getting together, my man. We're going to have some more fun.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being a guest.
It's been great having you. Thank you for coming to my rescue.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the new year.